Escape velocity means it is the velocity of an object in order to escape the gravitational influence. What is meant by energy? Energy is something which is used to do work. It is the capacity to do work. Minimum velocity achieved by an object in order to escape the gravitational influence of the celestial body is known as escape speed. Hello everyone, I am Vrinda, Faculty of Physics, Vidyashram Pre-University College, Mysuru, welcoming you all to Chapter 8, Session 3, that is Gravitation. So here in this concept class, let me make you understand regarding gravitational potential energy as well as escape speed and orbital velocity. So here, gravitational potential energy. If I randomly ask you to define gravitational potential energy, you'll get confused. Yes, it is the obvious thing. So here, now gravitational potential energy, this energy, let me split up into energy, potential and gravitational. So what is meant by energy? Energy is something which is used to do work. It is the capacity to do work. So what is this energy? It is the capacity to do work, right? So what is this potential energy? As you all know, energy, it is divided into two types. It is potential energy and kinetic energy. This is potential energy and this is kinetic energy. So what is this potential energy and kinetic energy? Kinetic energy is the energy which increases along the action, along the motion. The kinetic energy also increases. But what is this potential energy? It is something which is stored before its action. Before its action, it's the energy which is stored, okay? So here, for example, potential energy, I am considering it in this case. It has got nothing to do with gravity as well as this image. The only thing what I'm making you understand is what is that potential energy. So suppose there is a water droplets here at certain time interval. Let it be t is equal to 1 minute or 1 second. Okay, so at this time, there is a water droplets which undergoes motion, that it has to fall down. So at this position, the potential energy is greater. So the potential energy is greater at this position. That is, the water droplets is yet to fall down. So its energy is stored over there. Such kind of an energy is known as potential energy. So as it goes down, it is the action of the water droplets. It is the action. So the kinetic energy is said to be increased. So the kinetic energy is the one which is associated with its motion. So kinetic energy increases, wherein your potential energy starts decreasing because the stored energy is spent during the motion. So potential energy decreases. So what is this potential energy? It is the stored form of energy. So that is all about your gravitational potential energy. So now, it is a type of a scalar quantity. So gravitational potential energy is a scalar quantity. So this is also one of the important thing. So now, this gravitational potential energy is given by the equation which is W is equal to minus G m1 m2 divided by R. Okay, so since the work energy is the capacity to do work, the potential energy can be given as, that is, the work can be given as the potential energy U is equal to minus of G capital letter M small m divided by R. So this is the expression in order to calculate your gravitational potential energy. Suppose if there is a gravitational potential energy, so expression to calculate gravitational potential energy at certain height h, then your expression is given as mass into acceleration due to gravity into height. So this is the expression to calculate gravitational potential energy at certain height. So gravitational potential energy and the along with the height, this expression is there to be calculated. So that is all about your gravitational potential height. So now you're clear with the Kepler's 3 laws, gravitational potential height, as well as Newton's gravitation law or universal law of gravitation. It is one and the same. So here, what is that escape speed? Suppose you're throwing an object. It falls down. So you're taking a rocket and you're just lighting the rocket. What happens to it? It goes up, bursts and come down. The stick falls down back, right? So that is because it is not getting escaped. It doesn't escape the influence of gravity. So here this escape speed or escape velocity means something which escapes by using its speed. Some object escapes certain influence by the speed, right? So suppose if a dog is running behind you in order to bite you, what happens? You just run away from the dog such that the dog doesn't get you, right? So you will be in that certain speed wherein a dog also cannot catch you. In your lifetime, you haven't acquired such a speed just to save your life, right? Similarly, that is the escape. You can term that as a escape speed in a general terms. But for a planet, the escape speed is having a value, and that planet is our planet Earth. Our planet Earth has got certain escape speed, that is 11.2 kilometers per second. This is the constant value for our planet Earth. So now what is this escape speed? It is the minimum velocity which is achieved by an object. Minimum velocity achieved by an object in order to escape the gravitational influence of the celestial body is known as escape speed. So each and every celestial bodies are having certain escape speed, out of which our planet Earth is having 11.2 kilometers per second. That is, for example, a rocket. A rocket burns its fuel and it goes up. It goes up out of the orbit. Why is that? Because in order to escape its velocity, it will be in that force. Okay. Suppose by any chance it doesn't acquire the escape speed, then again the rocket falls back to the ground. Right? So that is why it acquires certain escape speed and then it moves out of the ground, wherein the gravitational influence will be zero and it will never come back to the earth. It doesn't fall back to the earth. That is all about your escape speed. Suppose if you are throwing any object with a speed of 11.2 kilometer per second, then it will never come back to you. Okay, so that is all about your escape speed. So how can you give the escape velocity as? It can be given as root of 2gm by r. So you can write it as root of 2g into r, because your g is given as gm by r square. So this is all about your equation to calculate your escape velocity. So now what is that orbital velocity? If this is your escape velocity, orbital velocity is what? Is it one and the same? No. Escape velocity means it is the velocity of an object in order to escape the gravitational influence. That is all about escape velocity. Whereas orbital velocity means here you are calculating the speed of the planet orbiting around a celestial body. So suppose there is a sun over here and this earth is orbiting around the sun. So we are calculating the orbital velocity of it. How do you calculate the orbital velocity? So orbital velocity V0, that is orbital velocity, is given as root of gm divided by r plus h. So this is the equation in order to calculate orbital velocity. So suppose you are calculating the time period of revolution or rotation. How will you calculate the time of rotation or revolution? That is, you all know that speed is equal to distance by time taken. So time can be given as d by s. Then your period in order to calculate rotation as well as revolution can be given as T is equal to 2 pi into R plus H divided by V naught. So this is all about your calculation of time period of rotation or revolution. So you all got to know what is this escape speed, what is this orbital velocity, as well as the gravitational potential energy. So you also got to know the three expressions, the gravitational potential energy expression, as well as it is calculated with regard to the height, as well as here it is escape speed. Escape speed value is 11.2 kilometers per second, and its expression is root 2 g into r, as well as orbital velocity expression is given as root of gm divided by r plus h, and the time period to calculate rotation and revolution. So that is all about your escape speed and orbital velocity. So in today's class, we had studied regarding gravitational potential energy, orbital velocity and escape velocity. So in my next class, I'll come up with the concept of satellites, and there ends our gravitation chapter. Until then, have a good day. Thank you.